Hey everyone, Wynn here, and welcome back to our last week of our virtual Summer Makerspace Club. This week we're going to be reading two stories, The King and His Daughters and The Jackal and the Lion. The King and His Daughters is one of my favorite stories. You see bits of it in various places all over the world. This is a newer version set in rhyme. The next story will be The Jackal and the Lion, and it's a fable originating from Africa. There are several jackal stories, but this one is my favorite. This version is also set in verse and is a little newer. If you would like to read along, pull out your purple folder from your kit and get your copy, or just listen to me read. So let's begin with The King and His Daughters. Once there was a great king. He was a wise and old thing. He was loved in his kingdom for his great wisdom, but nothing gave him glee like his daughters three. But the old king was tired, and he knew his time was dire, so he had to choose his successor, one that would not be his lesser. So he devised a task for his daughters three, one that would determine who the next king would be. By the time my time as king is coming to an end, but only one of you can ascend. To determine this, I present a contest, to see which one of you would be best. Each of you will have an identical room. I want you to fill using only one doubloon. Rhea, the first daughter, set to her task first. She acted like she did in life, without rehearse. She took her coin and went to the market, where she immediately found her target. She purchased mounds of hay and filled her room without delay. Rhea reported back to her father her deeds. His face, when she told him, was pleased. He looked into the room and was puzzled. He took the glass from his muzzle, and he poured his drink into the hay. We shall see what your sisters will have to say. Desvita, the second daughter, thought and thought. Like in life, she thought about what was taught. Her lessons she had learned in her books to determine what path she took. She set forth her plan and put it into motion. She purchased the items to create a potion. She reported back to her father her results. His face smiled and twisted in exults. He watched as she poured the potion in a bowl, and the room filled with smoke completely full. He stepped in and immediately started to cough. The room is filled, but is useless, he scoffed. Zora, the third daughter, went to see her friends. She told them she didn't know what she intends. She was saddened by the news of her father. As the day grew longer, she was even sadder. The night had began, and an idea was formed, and she purchased what was needed and went to perform. She helped her father into the room where the candles sat lit in full bloom. A smile lit across his face, and he knew Zora would be king in queue. You filled the room with light, my dear. It remains useful too. The winner is clear. For this story, I want you to win the king's favor. Fill your paper bag with something, but don't use anything described in the story. What will you fill your bag with? Maybe you can challenge your family. You can be the king, and they have to fill the bag with something, and you get to be the judge. You'll need to think outside of the box for this one. Or bag, I guess. Next up is The Jackal and the Lion. On the arid plains of Africa, there was an outcropping of rocks. A narrow passageway cut through them. It was no bigger than an ox. A jackal stood on one side of the path. He wanted to get home, but he was lazy. It was hot and the sun was beaming down, and going around the rocks he thought was crazy. However, predators liked to wait on the other side. He knew if he was going to take the path, he would have to be smart about it. He carefully made his way through the footpath. Nearing the exit, he saw a flick of a tail. It was a lion's tail, and he knew just which one. He stopped and thought for a moment, but decided he would not run. An idea came to him, and he started to scream. "Help! Help!" the jackal shouted in hysteria. The lioness was confused and curious, so she made her way to the shouts area. When she arrived, she saw the jackal. He was holding up a large boulder. If you don't help me, this rock will crush us both. There is enough room beside me for your shoulder." The lioness hesitated for a moment and glared. This very jackal has tricked her before. But in that moment, a few pebbles shifted on the side, and she decided the threat was too great to ignore. She did as the jackal asked and assisted. She pushed her back on the rock and lifted. The jackal smiled as his plan had worked, and all thanks to some rocks that had shifted. At that moment, the jackal fell on the ground. "Let me go and find another friend. They can come and help you move this, so you will not meet your end." The jackal quickly left the passageway, and he ran all the way to his home quick. He wondered how long it would take before the lioness could discover his trick. For this one, use the remaining components from your bag or any materials you can find. Try to create a trap for a family member like the jackal did. See if you can trick them. Just be nice about it. Did your trap work? What are some other ways you can improve it for next time? Finally, try to write your own fable. What kind of moral is your story going to teach? Share how you filled your bag, how you tricked your family member or your friends, and your fable in the comments down below. Or create your own social media post and use the hashtag #MyFCPL so that we can see it too. Keep on exploring and making, and I'll see you at the library.